Hey, everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Craig Leonard, founder of Craig Thoughts, who specializes in helping tech founders and franchises grow their businesses through LinkedIn and strategic marketing. With expertise in profile optimization, content strategy, and lead generation, Craig helps professionals stand out, attract new opportunities, and maximize their online presence. How you doing today, Craig?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Anthony?
Pretty good. My voice is basically back, so I'm not going to be squeaking and popping and stuff. So, kind of excited about that. So we're back to fantastic. I was doing really good, but now we're back to fantastic. So
Well, that's a great range to be in, right?
exactly. Yeah, no, I can't complain. So was excited to have you on. I know we've been connected on LinkedIn for a while. You're doing a lot of cool things and people like me, I don't know how to use LinkedIn, right? It's something that I've had for a long time, have very little experience in actually utilizing to its fullest, trying to use it more. So I saw what you're doing. I was like, okay, there's definitely people out there like me that could benefit from actually utilizing the platform. So I was excited to have you on, but to start off, where are you calling in from? Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm calling in from the great state of New Jersey, the northern part, about 30 miles or an hour train ride west of New York City.
Awesome. Are you a lifer? You been there forever, or you're newer to the area?
I grew up here. I went to school at Virginia Tech, go Hokies, and then came back to New Jersey after graduation.
Awesome, awesome. So for folks that have never been, let's say you have some friends coming into town that have never been up there. Where are you going? Where are you taking them? What are you doing? And where are you going for dinner?
That's a good question. I would say, well, obviously it depends on the kind of person they are and what they like to do. But Morristown is nearby. It's a popular place for nightlife, restaurants, bars, and so on. I have a favorite bar there. A couple of places to go. There's places to watch the game, places to have a quiet place to hang out with your friends. Um, and then, yeah, I guess it depends on what they like to do. There's music, cover bands, live bands, perform their own music. There's comedy nights. They have a theater there, so there's plenty of different options for people who like to go out.
Okay. What about food? Where's like your go-to types of restaurants? Well, not necessarily, the exact place, but big into pasta, big into like the, Asian cuisines, kind of where do you like to take people?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I'm about half Italian myself, so that's always a good option. There's American fare. Chinese is always something like I don't get it too much, but when I do, it's like, yeah, I haven't had that in a while. Let's do that. I think my girlfriend and I went to a Thai place maybe a few months ago. That was good. Yeah, I guess it depends on how adventurous people are and their tastes.
Yeah. I always like asking people that are like around like New York, Chicago, the bigger cities, because they're like anywhere. I narrow it down. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it's kind
You
of
see, New Jersey got rated by this one publication. New Yorkers won't like this, but they said New Jersey had the best pizza. So make of that what you will. Is the writer's opinion. But yeah, we're known for our pizza, bagels, and so many people from all over the world come to this area of the country. So we have just about any type of food you could ask for.
absolutely awesome. Well, what can you tell us about what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, well, my background was in lead generation, sales, account management, couple different sectors, bounced around a little, but ended up uh, doing a lot of networking in 2020, spent a lot of time on Zoom in 2020, 2021, like many others. And one of the people I knew through networking was actually in finance, suggested I go the LinkedIn route and kind of fell into LinkedIn and marketing in a way. And so early 2020, I was laid off from my job and started helping friends with their writing challenges and helping them, do the resume, cover letter, LinkedIn. I'd been on the platform since my uncle suggested I get on early 2009 after I graduated college and kind of went from there. So the way I've been described is that people say that I help people present the best version of themselves, help people put their best foot forward, and so on. So I enjoy doing that, and it's often good to have a second person to speak with. I think Lincoln had that quote that the the lawyer who represents himself as a fool for a client. So I'm kind of like the person you can bounce ideas off of and give you an outsider's perspective, and also ask the client questions that they might not think to answer because it's just an everyday thing to them. So if I, come at it from an outsider's perspective and I ask a one-on-one question, it might be good for them to get back to basics and explain that, because people who aren't in that world don't know that, that fact, that part of their business as well as they do, and they just take it for granted.
Okay. So why LinkedIn out of all the social sites out there and all the different ways of networking? What about LinkedIn kind of made you go, this is where I'm planting my flag. I'm going to get good here.
Yeah, good question. So LinkedIn has become the de facto B2B platform, the platform for business. So it made sense for, it's obviously, it started out as like a place for people to get jobs, for recruiters and, recruiters and job candidates to connect. And then it evolved from there, it became a place to showcase your expertise, your business, and the work you do, and to attract potential prospects and clients. So it made sense that with my sales background, my account management, and my writing and editing work that I do on a volunteer basis for a fraternity alumni advisory group that I'm in, that it all made sense to go that route and help people with promoting their business or promoting the salespeople that are either looking to get more leads or potentially look for a new job, new opportunities.
Okay. Awesome. So you've been doing it for a while. What's your favorite thing? What do you love about what you're doing?
I love Hunter S. Thompson had that quote that he didn't like writing, but he liked having written. So I like that part of it and putting something together. Uh, I've gotten to work with a lot of accomplished people, and sometimes it's hard with the constraints LinkedIn has. Like, for instance, the About section, which is the biography, that they give you 2,600 characters, which is about 5 to 10 paragraphs. So being able to condense someone's accomplishments in that section down to, I don't want to say the basics, but like being able to condense someone's accomplishments into that and using all the different sections to showcase the highlights and the best version of people's work and what they can do for others. Uh, I really like the working with people, the teaching, the writing and editing, sometimes on the latter stages of it, and being able to produce something that people go, wow, that's pretty good. Like, I gave you some raw materials, I gave you like, some little information about my background, and we had a conversation, and then you turned it into this, and this is really cool. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. So, LinkedIn people, it's kind of in a weird spot where people think of it as that's just the place that you went when you were looking for a job back in the day. And then now it's kind of changed to where it is now. What are some opportunities that people, might be able to find here that, they might have a preconceived notion with LinkedIn saying, it's not for me because of XYZ. Like what do they have available to them and why should people be on the platform?
Well, you're talking about a person who's looking for a job, or what
Maybe
context?
maybe just a business owner, small entrepreneur, solopreneur, just somebody that might have a misunderstanding of what LinkedIn is now because of what it used to be, and like what opportunities are they leaving on the table by not utilizing the platform?
Right. Well, absolutely. So there's the content side of it, as far as putting out either written or video content, and we can get into that, and it's become a bigger part of it. And on the app, they have a separate tab or a separate section, depending. Sometimes like half the time when I sign into the app, there's like a separate tab at the bottom for video, and sometimes it's within the main part of the feed. But anyway, it's become a big part of it, and putting out content to showcase your expertise uh, really makes people more likely to work with you. Obviously, people have to know about you before they would hire you. So it has a certain level of discoverability with the content side of it. And then once people see your content, they're more likely to click on your profile. And then that gives you more opportunity to showcase the results you've gotten for clients that are similar to the people going to your profile, your knowledge, any certifications you've gotten, if you volunteer for certain organizations and then the person visiting your profile is, you know, either sympathetic to that organization or that cause, and that can cause, people to say, oh, this Anthony guy, he's into this, and so am I. So maybe, and I'm interested in learning about podcasting or what have you. And so then from there, it leads to meetup opportunities. So the way I've been told is that the purpose of LinkedIn is threefold. It's exposure, credibility, and meetings. And it's a great tool for doing that.
Okay. So you meet with a lot of entrepreneurs. You live that life yourself. What's some advice that you would give to somebody starting out that maybe you learned early on, or a hard one lesson that you had that if you could go back and tell yourself early on, hey, look out for this, or just advice you would give to somebody in that space?
Yeah, that's a big question. There's so much I could go into. I would say that, well, there's so many great resources out there. I would say that as far as books go, and I'm a big reader, and I like that, and podcast. Noah Kagan's $100 million week, or well, $1 million weekend. Alex Hermosi has $100 million offers and $100 million leads, and then there's sales books like Jeffrey Gitomer and Jeb Blood, and so many others that have great ideas. I think like what I remember most from that $1 million weekend book, Noah Kagan, was finding an audience before you go and build something that the world may not need or may not want. So, talk to people, see what the problems they're actually having and not what you think they're having, because what you think is a great idea and would be a great product and solve this problem, there might not be a need for it or as much of a need as you think there is. So go out, see what kinds of problems people are having in the industries that you're interested in serving, and then go from there. And then you'll have, more of a built-in audience. He has a great quote that people are interested until it's time to pay. So see what people are actually willing to pay for and use that as not necessarily your North Star, but it's a big part of it. Obviously, you gotta make some money to keep going.
Absolutely. What is the avatar of your average client? What are some pain points that maybe your average client's going through that if they're dealing with X, Y, Z, you're the person that they should talk to?
That's a great question. So oftentimes I say that LinkedIn's like the front porch of the work I do. So sometimes it's that either they're not on the platform or it's been so long that they forget their password to it. They, have so many blank spaces on it. They only have their job title and not much content or any content for that matter, that there's an opportunity there for them to get their name out because it's, the business platform, and there are now about 1 billion people on the platform. And obviously, businesses in general want to grow year to year for various reasons, but that they're looking for help communicating their value to their ideal audience, whatever that may be. So, B2C, and I've worked with some B2C businesses, limo and franchise businesses, franchise flooring business. But it has become known as like the B2B platform. So businesses in that space that need help getting their name out there. Obviously, there are other channels, but there's positives and negatives with each of them. But it's something that people, if you go to a networking event, if you're in business, you may go to old school networking events, shake hands, pass out business cards. Great. The first two things people are often going to do is Google you and look you up on LinkedIn. So you want to have a solid presence on there. You want to look good, and you want to showcase what you have done, what you can do for people in that avatar. So looking good on there and showing the best version of yourself and your businesses is vital for entrepreneurs, business owners.
Okay. How about power partners? What are other industries or other professionals that you synergize well with, maybe collaborate well with, that you can kind of refer back and forth to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that larger social media agencies of, say, like 2 to 20 employees, videographers, career coaches who don't do the writing side of it, are more, on the coaching advice side of things. And I would say that photographers as well can potentially, obviously they do the visual side and make people look good that way, but sometimes people would need help with the written side and knowing the platforms so that they have the whole picture, so to speak.
Okay. What would you say are the top LinkedIn profile mistakes that are hurting business growth?
Well, some of what we talked about, I would say that some people don't have a headshot, which can hurt them severely. I don't know the numbers offhand, but it's like you get invitations at a much higher rate with a professional headshot and something that's up to date. And mine is now a little over 4 years old, and you made me look a little younger with my blessing, but something I need to do myself. So yeah, headshot, headline. The banner is an underutilized resource because it's at the top of your page, and as the saying goes, picture's worth 1,000 words. So it's something that allows you to showcase, who you serve, what you do for them, as well as potentially like add another picture of yourself because it creates more familiarity with people. Um, just using all the sections. The featured section is like a highlight reel. I tell people like a top 10, except it's the first three is the big ones because those are the ones that show up when someone looks at your page. So for business owners, oftentimes, depending on their industry and what they want to showcase, oftentimes it's best to have your calendar, if that's the way you go about bringing in new clients, is to let people book right off your profile, website, and then maybe like a video of you on a podcast or where you're interviewed or something along those lines, or like some work you're proud of, whether that's written, visual, video, what have you. So something in that range, depending on your industry and what like the type of call to action you're looking to tell people to do after they come to your page.
Right. How can like tech founders and like franchises use LinkedIn to attract more clients?
Well, there's a number of parts to it. There's of course the profile side, the content side. As mentioned, the video side is becoming bigger. But if you're more of a writer, there are ways to do that. Putting an image with it, and really getting into your industry and your business, and showing the knowledge you have, and getting into either content that, and there's numbers of ways to go about it. There's ways to argue like for a common best practice. You can argue against a common best practice, and if you have a good argument for why that is, people go, "Huh, that's an interesting idea. Like I hadn't thought of that." And since you're going against the grain, people are like, "Oh, this guy's interesting. Like, maybe he's a guy I should talk to." Um, and then there's the commenting side of it. So some people see like, okay, A, B, and C are the biggest people in my industry. I can go that route, or I can go towards people who, have a good following, but aren't like the biggest names on there. So that might be an opportunity people can pursue because, the biggest names, they're getting like thousands of comments and you might not stand out. You can go that route. And, I'm sure it's worked for people, but I think an opportunity is to go after accounts that maybe aren't as big, but are in your industry or adjacent industry. And then someone puts out something informative, and then you bring your experience to the table and leave a experience laden comment on their work. And then they go, "Oh, maybe I should, I'll click over, go to Anthony's profile. Oh, Anthony is a podcaster. He's had on a number of interesting people. Maybe I want to talk to Anthony. Maybe I want to be on his podcast, or maybe I want to ask him about starting a podcast." I don't know if you want to do that and talk to people like that, but it's just another way for your link to your profile to show up, is to comment on other people's posts. So what I do is I have, and there's a number of ways to do this, but I set up a shortcut where it's about 25 accounts that I go to I try to do it every day, but it doesn't always happen. I just type in shortcut and I have this set up that it's the past week of posts from 25 people in my network. And then I can either comment and or like their posts. And, I consider that a smart investment of my time.
What's the best way to create a LinkedIn content strategy that drives engagement?
Uh, well, I mean, choosing the people to comment on. So, some people nowadays, obviously, groups are very popular. So if you want to, and whether that's like a BNI type thing where it's like one person per profession and you're supporting people in your group, or if it's referral partners, not in that situation. Like in my case, people who have social media agencies, marketing agencies, ad agencies, videographers, photographers, career coaches, and so on, that I set it up that I comment on their posts. And then again, going with reading their posts or watching their videos, assuming they're not too long because we only have so much time, and then providing our perspective on it. And then, and then hopefully people will see that. And then that leads them to click on our page and go from there.
Perfect. Is there anything that I missed or failed to ask that you wanted to add?
That's a good question. I would say that, yeah, putting out content, expanding on what you're comfortable with. So written to video and so on and so forth, looking good on your page. And there's a way to check that. I forgot to mention this. There's a thing called LinkedIn SSI that if you're signed in and you open a new tab, you do a search for LinkedIn SSI. It's usually the first hit on the page. And then you click get your score free. You can see how you're doing on LinkedIn. And it'll tell you like you're connecting with the right people, you have a great presence. I think there's 4 criteria, and then they're each ranked up to 25. And you'll see how you're doing relative to just about everyone on the platform and also within your industry. So it's a great measure of how you're doing on the platform and where you can improve how you're doing on LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, I will be going to that after this to check it out.
Yeah.
For those that want to go, improve their LinkedIn, or they have questions for you that I didn't get to, what's the best way that they get a hold of you, or where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my calendar is calendly.com/Craig Leonard, CraigLeonard. My website is craigthoughts.com. And my LinkedIn is linkedin.com/Craig Leonard VT as in Virginia Tech.
Perfect. Well, if anybody would like to get in touch with Craig, absolutely do it. If you've, used to be on LinkedIn and aren't anymore because you don't know kind of how to, you're overwhelmed, right? Or maybe you're utilizing LinkedIn and you're not using in the best way. Absolutely reach out, have that conversation. It doesn't hurt to get your name out there, and LinkedIn is one of the better ways to do it, especially in the space that we're all looking at. So do that. I'm gonna put everything in the show notes so it's easy to find. You just have to click on it. Other than that, if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me, where you can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with awesome people like Craig in our growing community. If you or somebody you know would like to be interviewed, feel free to apply on the website. But Craig, again, I really appreciate you coming on. I know that I am I'm not using LinkedIn to its fullest, so I was super excited to kind of pick your brain a little bit here, and I'm probably gonna have to do more of it for sure. But let's all go out there. Let's kind of fix the stuff that we can. Let's have an awesome day and grow our circle. All right,
Thank you, Anthony, for having me. I really appreciate it.
it's my pleasure.